Hi, I'm Semanti. So today we're going to do something which is slightly controversial because we're going to try making a samosa, but samosa, as it is popularly known globally, it's one of the most well-known Indian snacks across the world. But in Bengal, we don't call it samosa, we call it Shingara. And it's lighter, the flavors are more subtle and well, it's more evolved as we would like to claim, but it's delicious, as delicious if not more as a samosa. So let's go and try it. I've got some potatoes boiled and ready. I'm going to be peeling them and mashing them up a bit. What's going to go into the potatoes is what we call bhaja moshla. There are variations of it. This is what I'm going to use because I love the fragrances. This is dhania, coriander seeds. These are fennel seeds, sauf, and this is jeera, and some red chilies, dry red chilies. These bad boys have come all the way from Mednipur. My sister's cook gets them once a year, then I go and steal them. And I'm going to put a couple of elaichi, cardamom for flavor. There's some coriander and some green chilies. And of course the maida. I keep my maida like this because I keep it in the freezer since we don't use it too often, and in Indian weather they get too many weevils. So we measure out 1 cup. This dough needs a lot of oil, so I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of oil. And then a little bit of salt, and we mix it till it starts resembling breadcrumbs. If you see here, the consistency is like breadcrumbs. Now we add the water bit by bit because I want a stiff dough. We're going to cover it with a damp cloth. The best way to get your cloth damp is to wash your hands and then wipe it on the napkin and cover it so. While the dough is resting, let's go and get the bhaja moshla ready. We're going to take these and roast them, dry roast them, and then grind them roughly. Remember, slow fire. So I'm putting the cumin, the coriander, the fennel, and the red chilies, and the cardamom. Now bhaja moshla, as this is called in Bengali, there's a variety of bhaja moshla. Some people add clove and dalchini in it. Some people put a bay leaf into it. Right now, this is what I'm going with. A lot of people also make a great quantity of it and bottle it, but I find during the monsoons, not a good idea because A, it loses its fragrance, loses its texture. So it's easier to just make up a little when you're going to be using it. Bhaja moshla is also used in a variety of foods. You can sprinkle it on your tomato chutney or your mango chutney. You can add it to ghugni or to aloo dum, which is a potato curry. While the masala is resting in that, peel the potatoes. Once you peel the potatoes, you sort of just gently squish them in your hand like this. No cutting, because you want the potatoes soft and of no definite shape so that they fill into the cone easily. You don't want any edges sort of making holes in your dough. Then we add all the masalas. The masala's cooled, and I'm going to discard these, and they're nice and crisp now, you can hear. We're just going to pulse it so that you get a nice rough kind of a texture. and the masala sort of burst in your mouth, as Amit likes to say. Yeah, nice. So that's salt and green chilies and coriander and of course the bhaja moshla. This bhaja moshla is actually a great trick. I think it makes sense to even say use it on a steak as a rub down, or while you're roasting a chicken or something like that. I mean, or if you want to just add it to your bhindi while it's frying, or your cauliflower while it's frying. The aroma that this gives out is amazing. You must try it. Take a taste and see if it's good. A little more salt. And I'm gonna put a little more of this masala. Yeah. Nice and zingy for a rainy day snack. Filling is ready and our dough has rested enough. Let's wake it up and let's make the cones for the shingara. Shingara or samosa is also a deep fried dish. And we're going to let this heat on slow fire. I don't want the oil too hot. The dough has rested and now we're going to take out small portions. You need to use a little pressure when you're rolling it because it's a stiff dough. We're going to use a little oil to roll it out. No loose flour because you don't want that flour falling into your oil and burning and making a mess. So now we just cut it in half, there, and lift up the edges. The water is to make sure that the sides stick together so that it doesn't burst in the oil. You have a cone, now you fill it. Don't overstuff it, at the same time don't understuff it. You don't want your shingara eater to feel cheated. Just make sure you leave enough room for sticking the sides together. As a child, the only part of the samosa I used to love to eat were these edges, which were nice and crisp. There, that's one ready. And waiting for frying. We have 4 samosas ready and I have a cameraman who's very impatient to eat them. Let's go and fry these. This spatula is really good because it's got all these holes and the oil sort of drips off and what you're left with is the food that you want. It's very convenient. So let's release the shingaras one by one. I think we can manage 2 at a time. I want to slow cook these so that they become nice and crisp. You can put any filling that you want and you can make them any size you want. This one's done. Just going to let the oil drip out. Yeah, see, these ones are perfect. So the samosas are ready to eat, and I think I have a very happy cameraman. Traditionally, this is served with a tamarind chutney, but I don't have tamarind in the house, so I'm going to be serving it with a mint chutney. And of course, the savior of all occasions, the tomato ketchup. Bon appetit! Let us see what it's like. Nice and crisp. Oh, look at that.
You know where that went, right?
Yummy, mommy.
The next morning we had some dough and potatoes left over, and we were like, should we make kulchas, aloo kulchas? Should we do this? Should we do that? And finally Amit said, why don't we try baked samosas? So that's what we did. Cut them into rounds, the dough, and we put the filling in between. Of course, the water had to be applied so that the sides would stick. Folded it over. Then it was like, how about some sweet ones? So there was some peda, which is the milk sweet, that one of my neighbors had given us, and we crumbled a bit into two actually, one for Amit, one for me, and we baked it. We preheated the oven at 200 for around 10 minutes or so, and then brought the heat down to 160 once the tray went in, and let it cook for 20 minutes on one side and 20 minutes on the other. At one point Amit was like, why don't we fill them with some cheese? I suppose we could have, but it just would have got too heavy. That's the beauty of this dough. You can stuff it with anything that you like, sweet or savory, and fry it, bake it, and just eat it. So this is the one with the potato stuffing. See how crusty the outer casing is? And this is the one with the sweet stuffing. The pedas got caramelized. Guess which one I like?